Ladies and gentlemen, very good evening and a warm welcome to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott. Welcome to this Monday evening session. Oddly, I know, because we normally do it on a Sunday, but welcome to this Monday evening session. As you can see, I have been joined by, I've got two Ians and a Jel. I'm glad it's not two Gels and an Ian. Ian Noble, welcome back, mate. How are you?
I'm well, Nick. You all right, mate?
Oh, all good. A bit disappointed over the last 24 hours. Holyoke.
Goes without saying, mate.
Absolutely. Holyoke, how you doing, buddy?
Same. Different day.
Yeah, easy. So, did we get 15 seconds without a swear word? I think we did, didn't we?
I'd stop myself from swearing.
Mr. Lyons, how are you, mate?
Not too bad. Hope everyone's well out there.
Well, I am extremely well and very happy because obviously I've had some good news this week. So, football aside, lots of serious stuff going on in the world. We're going to try and make the next hour a little bit more light-hearted, if you don't mind. We will touch on the Arsenal games. I have plenty of notes there. We will touch on the Man City game if you want to. But ladies and gentlemen out of Red and Blue Review Land, you tell us what you want us to talk about. Okay, I can see everybody coming through. Phil Usher, I can see you. The first one I saw there, John Knox and Graham Daniels, Mark Johnson, Andy Stacey, Mr. Appley, good evening. Who else we got there? Mark Drew, I can see Kevin Butler, Michael Montgomery, and loads more of you out there coming to join us on this Monday evening, and I really am grateful. Boys, I'm going to start, if you don't mind. Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of a statement and we're going to be obviously end up talking about Mr. Hodgson at some point during the course of the evening, but I'm going to make a statement that Roy Hodgson is well known for his defensive capabilities. He sets the teams up well, okay, and we know he's very defensive. We have strikers that can't put the ball away, okay, or score goals because of how we're set up, okay. Even Wilf sometimes suffers. Where has the defensive skill of Roy Hodgson gone? If you think about Liverpool, Aston Villa, and now Man City, where has that gone? Ian Noble, your thoughts on a question I've never said to you before the show.
You're absolutely right. It would have been handy to have seen that question beforehand, but there we go. Look, I think you've got to take, I almost want to take each of those games in isolation and say there were reasons why we conceded goals in all three of them. I think against Liverpool and City, we were playing two very good teams at the top of their game. You know, Villa, I just don't know what happened with Villa. It went horribly wrong. I've almost erased it from my memory. Thanks for bringing it back again.
My pleasure.
You know, in between times, we've had shutouts. We conceded one goal in 3 games. So I can't agree with you to say that Roy Hodgson has lost his ability to set a team up and defend well. I think he can still do that. I just think it's who we're coming up against on certain days. I also think that he could have done with changing a few things around yesterday that he didn't change around. I said before kick-off that I was expecting Nathaniel Klein to play right back. Ward is the wrong side of 30 now. He's played against Arsenal. They've had to go up to Manchester. You know, I would have rested him and brought Klein in. I don't think there's a huge amount to choose between them. I would have kept Mitchell at left back. In fact, for a bad bunch, he was probably our best player last night. And I think we missed Coyote as well at the back yesterday. You know, would they have scored the first goal if Cechia had been playing? Maybe not, because he's been an ever-present in every game up until now. He's been the only constant in that back four all season, and we go without him because he had a family issue or something, which is understandable. So you are going to miss players. And to be honest, he could have probably done with a break in any event. But I think there are things that selection choices. If selection choices had been different last night, I think it could have been I think we still would have lost, but it could have been a slightly better result for us 2-0, say, you know.
Ian Lyons, come in. Same subject, please.
Well, I mean, it's just like I've just seen a Tottenham mate of mine just come on just to see what's going on, and I guess they're suffering similar things. But the problem is with Mourinho, not only does he know how to set a defensive team up, they've got players who can actually score.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Hodgson is, as Ian's just said, he knows how to set a defensive formation. I'm not so sure the players know how to play it, but it's doing the transition, isn't it, from defence to attack? And what happens is that when you're defending with every player behind the ball, if one of the players does get the ball, they're just hoofing it straight back to their other player's goalkeeper, who's playing sweeper and is halfway in the other, their own half. And it's like the Alamo, it keeps coming back. And, it's just turgid football at the minute. It's no one can be happy. It's now starting to get quite divisive on the boards. People are now starting to realise what we've been saying for months. But then there are still people that are saying, "Oh, be careful what you wish for." Where it's all about stability. Well, what stability? As I said last week, we're now so static. We're in danger of going backwards as everyone else is going forwards past us.
Yeah, good point. Jel, I'm coming to you right now, same topic. Okay, but before I do, a big part of the Red and Blue Review is a guy called Grant Saunders. Grant Saunders on behalf of the entire team, mate. Many happy returns, big man.
Happy birthday.
And he could have popped on this evening, but he was busy. So, Grant, if you are watching this, happy birthday, mate. Jel, obviously you're still quite happy with the manager in position, aren't you?
No, not at all. I'm saying it for a while. Your sarcasm is not lost on me. So City generally these days play 4-3-3, and we set up 4-5-1. I don't think we set up 4-5-1. I think we just set up 9-1. I think that was it. And at first we just hung Andros out to dry because he chased down everything. It just looked like
he did.
He just seriously just dumped a bag of speed and just ran away. I was like, what on earth? That is what I want to see Benteke and Wilf doing when they're up front. This guy can, struggles to get in our side. And that's what we want. That's what we love as Palace fans. We all knew really that sooner or later going to City, we've had the good stuff going to Arsenal. We had that big, the last team 4 years ago to win at Anfield, and we've won there. We won there before as well. We've missed on a few parades, City, Liverpool, Man United. We're going through little purple patches with certain teams, and then all of a sudden Liverpool hump us, City hump us. But the thing is, I can take. Yesterday, can I take that? Yes and no. The setup was literally how you would turn around at a training game and say, we'll put all the best players, all the attacking players on one side, and we'll put all the defensive players on the other. And you're like, from the absolute outset, people going, oh, this is the worst possible team. It was probably the best possible team that we could have put out there, bar Ayew instead of Benteke. And I never thought that I would say that, especially after, he's been a revelation, Benteke, this year. And again, as I say all the time, if a player deserves plaudits, he'll get them off me. He's crap, I'll say he's crap, but Benteke's been decent for us this year. He's just been unlucky with, keepers playing well. But that setup to play 4-5-1 against City 4-3-3, they're just, they're marauding. But they're on a different planet to us when it comes to setup and application. Now, if you look at our players, when we don't harry for the ball, Man City, if they've lost the ball, they want that ball back, and they will go 2 or 3 on one of our players. We have no choice, right, but to just either A, relinquish possession, or have to hoof it. It's just that's it. And again, I'm under no illusions. Player for player, they've probably got 2 better players in every position than we've got in our inside squad. The money that they've got gives them that luxury. But I was disappointed yesterday that we made Stones out to beat Franco Baresi. Seriously, that guy, I can't. It's the adage. Great tweet on Twitter earlier. Saw someone turn around and put, if you haven't Stones scores his first goal for 5 years. Blah de Blah scores his first goal. This bloke ain't scored a goal. Pissed on Nick's parade. Sorry. You do that. Do that tweet now.
I tell you, this is actually quite important, actually, and it's going to be a part of the running order. But as you brought it up, I'm actually going to read it out now. So against Crystal Palace, 2020-2021, Van der Beek scores his first goal from Man United against Palace.
He can't even get in the Man United side either.
Hang on a minute, it was his only second game or something, wasn't it? I mean, it's not like you've been going for ages.
Let me before you jump in, let me finish. Chilwell, first goal for Chelsea. McAllister, first goal for Brighton. Ait-Nouri, first goal for Wolves.
Okay, 17 minutes.
Joe Linton. Again, let me finish. Joe Linton, first Premier League goal in 14 hours of football. Minamino, first Premier League goal for Liverpool. Adam Traore, first goal in 11 months. And as Jill quite rightly alluded to, Stones, first 2 goals in the Premier League for Man City. And I'm sure, thank you to Nigel Croucher for great stats there. Okay, I appreciate everything you've done for me this week, Nigel. And I know you're watching. Good evening, mate. Okay. Ian, in Lions, you take over because it frustrates me.
It's just symptomatic. Burnley beating us, but Villa, it's just ridiculous. But what struck me, I could have taken not getting any points from yesterday because, as Joe and Ian rightly say, they're pretty much the best team in the league at the minute. And the players they've got, they will punish you. But Hodgson, before the game, said, we've just got to weather the storm. And he's going into it publicly with such a negative attitude.
He actually, just correct what you just said. And again, I was coming to it. He actually said, I'm not confident about tonight.
I know. It's just so frustrating. Now, once the guys have crossed the white line, there's not much a manager can do apart from balling stuff. You can see every other league manager doing other than Hodgson. It's Ray Lewington that does all the screaming and shouting and does all the half-time talks by all accounts. Just what value are we getting from Hodgson now? It's just ridiculous. And to come out on national TV, everyone's thinking we're going to get a Tonkin, but surely then you just say, okay, well, we'll leave ourselves open at the back. They scored 4 goals when we tried to put 9 across the back. But so at least try and pin them back, pin the likes of Stones back, so to prevent him from scoring. I think the irony being of it all, though, is they didn't actually score from open play, did they? Or what I would say is that all 4 goals came from set pieces, 3 corners and a free kick. But nevertheless, it was just one-way traffic all the time.
And do you think, and Joe, I'm asking you this because you've just been alluding to him as well. Do you think from those set pieces that Ian just mentioned, do you think we missed Benteke at those set pieces because he's got a particular role at the corners?
Not yesterday, because the way that he was set up, it wouldn't have mattered if Benteke was there. Just would have suffered the same as I. Just would have run down blind alleys. Wherever he got the ball, he would have been crowded out. So
no, I was actually talking about his role at set pieces to defend Jel.
He wasn't going to score any own goals, was he? So,
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just. Yeah.
I think he might have made a bit of a difference. Ayew was in that position. He was defending the front post at our corners where Benteke stands. And in the first half in particular, there were a couple of corners that came in. They weren't particularly well delivered, but we cleared them and dealt with them quite comfortably. But the problem we had yesterday, as well as the fact that they got great players and they're moving the ball about, and we didn't have any outlets. As soon as we got out of our first third, into the middle of the park, we didn't know where to play it. Townsend, you're right, he ran his socks off down the line. I thought Jordan Ayew actually played quite a good game as well at the beginning in the first half. But, we just didn't have any outlet at all. There was one occasion, I can't remember who crossed it, someone got the ball across and there's just nobody there at all.
Yeah.
It was hopeless. It was a good cross. Yeah, it might be Eze, but it just didn't work last night. And I always say, you know me, I'm an optimist. My glass is always half full when it comes to Palace, and I just say, look, draw a line under it. Let's move on. You know, because we've got winnable games coming up now. We've got to get some points in the next 2 home games for sure. And you know, there's a lot of football still to be played. We're halfway through the season, so yeah, I don't think it's all doom and gloom myself. Yes. I think Roy Hodgson's had his day. I don't disagree with what people are saying about Roy, but you've got to have someone lined up that's better than him to take over, and I'm not sure who that is at the moment. If I don't know, others don't know. You know, does Steve Parish know? Who knows?
Does
Thank
Steve
you, mate.
Parish want to change it?
Say again, mate.
Does Steve Parish want to change it?
Well, I hope he does, because if he can, you know, if he's a fan like, you know, we believe he is. I mean, no, I've spoken to him. I know he is. You know, he wants the best for Crystal Palace Football Club. There's no doubt about it. You know.
Right, I'm going to move on, boys. Just a couple of guys. Can I ask one of you to keep your eye on the comments in the chat, please, and let me know if you've got anything particular to read out from the chat. Good evening to each and every one of you. There's loads of you watching. Particular hello to Quentin Solden. Thank you for your comments to us last week, mate. We really do appreciate it. You asked for a shout out. Well, there you go. You got one. Welcome to the show. Jason, I can see you. Tom Clark, Samuel, all your hard work out there. Really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, please hit the share button and your watch party on your Facebook wall right now to let any other Palace fans come and join the show. Let them have a look and see what you're doing with your Monday evening, or simply go to redandbluereview.co.uk and you can look back at any of our previous podcasts. Right, gentlemen, I'm going to move on to another subject, if you don't mind. Something we did touch on pre-show, Max Meyer, and I'll tell you, I think the very short statement from the club is telling here, boys. And I quote, Max Meyer has left Crystal Palace Football Club by mutual consent. The German midfielder made 56 appearances for the club, scoring twice since he's moved to South London in the summer of 2018. Everybody at Crystal Palace thanks Max for his efforts and wishes him best of luck for the future. Pretty damning, eh? Who wants to comment on the loss of, how much was it again? £6.5 million average salary. Jel Holyoke.
I'm desperately disappointed for Max. I mean, you could see that Wilf's body language lit up when he was playing with him down the left hand side, much the same as when he plays now with Eze. I'm not sure how Roy can take a player that was out of favour, but wanted to move to the Premier League from Schalke. I'm pretty sure that we're not as good as Schalke because they play European football. He's played European football. There's no doubt that Max is a good player, but to not be good enough for our club, to not be good enough. I'll tell you what I think. I don't think he was a very good defensive midfielder, and that's what Hodgson's game is. He's set up. He's for defensive midfielders, and it was obviously he wasn't part of the plan. If he didn't have the engine like Jimmy Mack, he didn't have the ag like Jimmy McCarthy.
Lightweight, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, but you can say that, but you know, it's just
he always got. I mean.
You can't say that. You can't say he's lightweight because in the Premier League, you can't touch anyone. Don't matter whether you're 5 foot or 6'9". You can see as soon as you rough someone, it's a foul. Well, generally, but unless you're Xhaka, you can kick the shit out of us for the whole game and nothing will happen, and injure our players as well. But you know, generally, it's a turning into a non-contact sport, which would have been much better for him. So I'm not having that he's a bit too small. There's loads of small players. Look at what's his face who plays for Man City last night against us. Tiny. You know, David Silva. You know, it is what it is. I'm desperately disappointed that it didn't work out for him because, you know, it's not very nice when our club, the way that it's treated certain players. You know, when we treat players badly, we treat them very badly. And that won't be good for if Max goes back to Germany and people go, well, what do you think about Palace? He might just go, I don't even bother going over there while the old man's in charge. I don't know, you know.
Well, I sort of hope he does go back to Germany and doesn't turn up for West Brom and start pulling up trees and keeping them up, because that would be awful. Well, I sort of hope he doesn't, because I don't want anyone to play well against Palace, but I think there's something's happened that we don't know about with Max Meyer, because why would he have not even featured on the bench in recent weeks?
Do you remember 2 years ago, Townsend was our player of the season by a country mile. The first game next season, he didn't even make he couldn't even make the bench.
No, he didn't play much at all, did he?
He didn't play, so you cannot go from being literally our player of the season to not playing at all without something happening behind the scenes. And I think that happens a lot at our club.
The problem with Hodgson, right? My take on it. Look, I understand. I think it's sensible for the club. It's sensible for Meyer. We got 170 grand a week off the wages. Right? From what I understand, the deal, answering Quintin's question in here, so what exactly the deal was, is that we've let him go on a free, essentially, so he can negotiate his own terms at another club, which is exactly what he did when he came to us in the first place, in lieu of the extra 5 months' wages or whatever. But going back to the whole point of, why Meyer, what was the point in buying him if the manager clearly didn't rate him in the first place? Okay. And then the manager, when he was essentially pressured to play him, shoved him out on the left, right? Where, as we all know, when you're out on the wing, you're fodder for full-backs and centre defensive midfields to clear out in the stands. Of course, he looks lightweight when he's isolated. You've got no one to pass to, and there's two players coming in at him. He's going to be lightweight. His ability was his skill with both feet and picking a forward-looking pass. Now, because of the formation that Hodgson played, he wasn't able to, very, very rarely, as Joe alluded to earlier, when he came on, Wilf came alive, because Wilf was always there, knowing he'd get a pass in the channel,
True.
When Meyer was central. But the problem, players of that stature are not going to strong arm it, not just in our division, in any division, unless they're played in their position, which is in the middle of the park, where they can pass and move, they can find gaps in between the lines and then pick the ball. But, as I said, it was never going to be played in his right position, because Hodgson never, ever plays that system. So why do we hang on for him so bloody long?
Well, it's funny because it's actually, I'm not as convinced as you three are that it's poor old Max. There are some comments in the chat that I'm going to come to in a minute, but I'm going to give you some stats on him. So he was born in Oberhausen, Germany in 1995. We signed him from Schalke on a free. Now, Ian, you just alluded to the fact that we're letting him go on a free. Now, that's 2 clubs in a row, boys, where Schalke being a European side and he couldn't get in for whatever the reason was. Is it an attitude issue? I don't think it clearly is an ability issue, because we've seen some highlights from him. Okay. And now Palace have done the same. Now, if I was a chairman of his next club, I would have my doubts now, because at Schalke and Palace had let him go for the same, or under the same sort of guys. Sorry. He signed on a free in 2018 on a wage of 125 quid a week, £6.5 million a year. Max made 31 starts and came off the bench 25 times, scoring twice. That's 1 goal in every 18 appearances. Shots on target 13. Shots on target 13. Shots off target 44, and only 2 assists in that time, committing 20 fouls with 4 yellow cards. I know he didn't get a run, but I've got something in my mind saying there was something in the background, something behind the scenes that we may never find out about Max Meyer.
That's what I said. Exactly what I said. Something's gone on behind the scenes. We all agree he's a class footballer. He was on a lot of money, and it's not like we're a Man City and he's forcing his way past world class central midfielders, is he? There are players in our side that you would have thought he would be able to dislodge with his ability. Certainly last season.
not when you got a manager that sticks hard fast to his favourites.
Okay.
And as we've already explained, Meyer isn't a defensive player. He hasn't got the physical attributes needed to play or Hodgson looks for in a player. I mean, I've seen people saying he lacked end product. Of course he did, because there was no one in front of him. There was never anyone in front of him other than the opposition goalkeeper. So he couldn't deliver an end product. And when he was on the pitch, he was on the left, being kicked into the stands all the time. You know, it really does frustrate me. But I agree we've got to move on. We've done well by getting his wages off the bill. But I just think it's a decision we could have made 12 months ago.
Yes, I agree with that.
I ain't got a fee for him, as Jill says. Ain't got a fee for him. Absolutely right, mate. Absolutely right. I mean, if you look at some of the comments in the chat, Mark Drew saying Max ruined by Roy, Lee Lockwood saying another Roy masterclass, poor Max, and that's the theme really. Jason Green saying Max Meyer, what a mystery. Did he get a good crack of the whip? £170 a week, talented player, no doubt. Good luck is what he says, and that's the feeling in out in the chat. Okay, boys, similar sort of subject. Okay, because we're in the market clearly at the moment, clearing out some people that are costing us a lot of money, like Max Meyer. Gentlemen, Mamadou Sakho, Dubai. Discuss.
Out of order.
Go for it. Fill your boots.
Yeah, I think it's a bit out of order. I mean, people have been commenting all over Twitter about this, you know. I don't understand why these people, if they do have to go abroad somewhere like this and they've got the money to do it, why they have to put it on social media to tell people they're doing it. You know, they're opening themselves up to criticism, aren't they? If he's out for the rest of the season, okay, but I reckon he could have just gone under the radar a bit in the UK. That's what he should have done, in my opinion.
Jill.
I mean, if ever there was a player there were warning signs about, it was Mamadou Sakho before we bought him. So we bought him, paid him ridiculous amounts of money, you know, and as Jill said many times previously about his record, I think he's only played a third of the games he's ever been available for, you know, or during his career. So, and yet, and it was no surprise to me. It's almost like Neymar over Christmas. It's guaranteed, isn't it? Towards the end of his big, heavy wages, you know, coming to an end, rather than actually be fit enough for someone to come in and buy him, he gets injured for the rest of the season, the rest of his contract.
Convenient, eh?
Well,
I think he's done. I don't think we'll see him. I don't think we'll see him at Palace again. But if we do, then he deserves to be, you know, well, so what does he deserve to be? The players just do what they want these days. You know, we're not even allowed to criticise them anymore. Getting on heaps of crap off people on Twitter saying, leave Eze alone, leave this alone, leave that alone. It's like you can't say anything anymore. It's just ridiculous. So the players just do what they want, and they know that they've just got to put some absolute faux statement out that's, you know, someone at the club's probably written, you know, whoever is in charge of the statements. You know, it's just no one. I don't really care. An apology, I don't care anymore unless they come out literally in front of a crowd of people and just go, look, I'm really sorry, but there's none of that anymore. There's no. They don't care. They're just on a different planet and every different country most of the time.
Sakho has undoubtedly got ability as a centre back, a footballing defender. You know, he played for France. He was a class act. Always injured though. But do you remember he was on loan with us, wasn't he, before he joined us? Is that right? Have I got that right?
Yeah.
And everyone I knew wanted to sign him.
Yeah.
And three of the guys I sit with said, if we sign Sakho, we'll get Sakho 12 on the back of our shirts. And I'm going, yeah, I'll have some of that, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And I didn't get it done, but the three of them did. So they've got these shirts with Sakho on and 12 on the back of them. And we all wanted him to come to Crystal Palace. We all, at the time, and now we're looking at it going, you know what, it wasn't such a good idea. But,
well, what I would say to that is we wanted him to come because pretty much all the entire loan spell, he actually played.
And he played well.
But as soon as he gets his contract, he suddenly gets injured.
So the things that have not gone so well for us. So Sakho cost us a lot of money, and
25.38 million.
Right, okay, but value for money, no. Connor Wickham, value for money, no. Max Meyer, value for money, no. Camarasa, value for money, no, not Camarasa. It was the Spanish guy we bought, and then Campagna, Jose Campagna, value for money, no. We can keep going on about having players that we're not getting value for money for. It's getting a little bit.
Christian Benteke?
Absolutely. Again, Christian Benteke, value for money. You know, you take his first season and this season out, everything in between has been pretty rubbish. Again, I'm simple the way that I work stuff out. So again, I did the Sacco thing, and someone comes to me the other day and went, "You said 128 games. He didn't play 120. I think that's the amount of actual Premier League games. I got that stat off PremierLeague.com, and I think that 128 games is his entire Premier League 128 games. Now I worked that out. Let's just say his fee and his wages. I worked out 128 games for us, which wasn't the case because he hasn't. You know, it's feasibly not possible. But that works out £365,000 a game. Now I'm miles off. Bitterly, I was going to put 59 games for us because I think that does. And then I thought, no, that can't be. I can't have paid just 59 games for us and 2 cup games. So I went into PremierLeague.com, got that stat from there. I actually think I was right. I don't think he's played more than 70 times. Let's just say 70 times.
Do you want the stats? I've got them here in front of me, right? So he's played for Crystal Palace 64 times as a Palace player. 8 games on loan before that. Only 8 games that season on loan. Before that, 56 for Liverpool and 151 for PSG.
So he's been in England 8 years and he's played how many games for Liverpool?
56.
So he's played less than 120 games. And the guy's earned about, he's earned about 30 million quid. Whoa.
Capped 29 times by France.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it is scandalous. This is why I think football needs to be. If you're not playing, if you're injured, you know, if I'm injured, if I go to work, cut myself, you know, no one's going to pay me. If the government have to help me out with a statutory sick pay, you know, then it's a lower wage. But these guys don't seem to be penalised. I know someone else can injure you, but that's what insurance is for. And I'm pretty sure that the clubs must be claiming insurance if a player gets injured.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
we would just go skin otherwise. But there is
insurance coming for Wigan, didn't we?
Yeah, there's a reoccurring theme here where we're paying people huge money to come to our club for non-performances. You know, I just can't. Again, it's just go. Benteke great in the first year. Me, I think my timing's all right. Second year, he's rubbish. My timing was bad. Second year, people go, we'll use different Tyler. Third year, don't use him again because he's a crap Tyler. But we just go, have another 130 grand a year, 130 grand a week. You know,
I'm coming to Joe. I'm actually going to come to those 2 salaries in a second.
But let me before you do that. This is what I like to the way that I try to explain things. Because people see me going off on Twitter. Is that value for money per game? All right. Now, if you get horrifically have your leg broken, then you've got to take that out of the equation. But I have heard Hodgson turn around and say that Sacco has told him, not the coach, the physios and all that, but Sacco has told him that he isn't fit enough to play. So he's almost refusing to play free. But
crazy.
Money per game, I bet Sacco's cost us more than £400,000 a game.
I remember when I did the stat the start of last season, and it was something akin to 600 grand a game then. So I'll have another look at it.
I did that. I did Sacco's stat when I was doing whole radio 3 years ago, and it was poor then.
Yeah, I know.
Ian Noble, there's something. Tony Nichols was asking, "Has you got the stats there? Have you got Benteke's numbers there?"
I will have a
700.
You know, and while Ian's looking that up, boys, this is the other two of you. So combined, Sacco and Mayer average salary is what's that? £11.7 million a year, I'd be interested to ask you guys, what do you think? I mean, bear in mind, and also don't forget, Connor Wickham, his contract's also up, so I presume he's going to go 3.1 million. What are we going to do with that money?
Well, the question for me would be, I mean, it is, you know, what I was going to say was, Real Miller has said, get rid of Friedman, he's doing nothing. Nigel Croucher, Dougie, value for money? No.
No.
So I don't want us to buy anyone in this next transfer window whilst Roy is still in charge, because everyone seems really confident that we're going to stand up regardless. So let's get rid of the players that are not playing, that are bleeding us dry, save a bit of money in the coffers, and then spend it when we get a new manager to back a new manager.
Yeah, great
Good
shout. Great
Good
shout. Ian Noble.
Yeah, I mean, Dougie Freeman, first of all. There was a question raised on Twitter today. You know, Dougie Freeman, what do you remember about him? Yeah, undoubtedly, fantastic player for us. Who can forget the Stockport goal? And then he did the dirty on us, didn't he, as a manager? Chased the dollar, went to Bolton when he was boss. Came back. Since he's been director of football, we've been asking what he's been doing ever since, haven't we? You know, what does he do? You know, apart from get crap players in for us, you know, beyond me. Anyway, Christian Benteke. Now, this is interesting. This is really interesting. He came to the UK in 2012 from French club Genk. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And he started his career there, and he'd gone back there, he'd been out on loan at various places. He joined Villa in 2012. He had 3 seasons at Villa, played 89 times for them. Of course, then earned his big money, moved to Liverpool. But any idea how many times he actually played for Liverpool?
58.
29.
Really?
29. Yeah, that's all. 29 appearances, 9 goals. And he's played for Crystal Palace, get this, 120 times, 24 goals. So he's scoring 1 in 6, isn't it? 1 in 6 he's scoring on average. Obviously, that big lean spell him through. Jel, you said earlier about Christian Benteke. I like him this season. I think he works really well off the ball. I think really well at Arsenal. Really unlucky not to score that header. Really unlucky to get that chance in the second half. Remember that chance in the second half where we counter-attacked? Benteke played Zaha in on the right. Wilf went down the right wing, whipped it across the box, and Granit Xhaka, who had the best game he's played for Arsenal for bloody months, cleared it over the bar. And behind him was Benteke, and he would have scored. So that was an amazing move. I think Christian Benteke, and I might have said this last time I was on, he will start scoring goals. Put him in the team, deliver for him, and Eze is the man to do that. And Townsend, both can put balls in the box. I think he'll start scoring goals again. I really do.
I do actually. I mean, we can carry on with this particular chat in a minute, and we will do, because I'm going to give you some combined figures in a minute. But there is one comment that's come through in the chat tonight, and I want you all to hear it and comment on it. Joan Wells. Joan, good evening, my darling, and thank you for tuning in. The only value player is MacArthur. MacArthur is giving us value for money, is what she's saying. And do you know what, love? That is a great shout. He's a little workhorse. I don't know. You know, Gel's never been a fan of him. Gel's never bigged him up at all. Okay, but I actually think he's a really. Yeah, I think your point is well made. Gel Holyoke, your thoughts?
I am a James MacArthur fanboy, unashamedly. That guy, like I said to you, you know, he revolutionised the way that we started passing the football. We were you remember the games where our players would play the ball to each other. It'd just be a pass, and it would be such a bad pass, and it was endemic all the time, every game, where players would anticipate the passes, but all of a sudden he come, you know, we would lose the ball. All of a sudden he come in, and he's making players control the ball because he's firing it at them. And now if you look at the way that some of our better players bang the ball at each other, Wilf passes the ball fast, Eze passes the ball fast. On his day, Milivojevic passes the ball fast. You are then reliant on your own skill to be able to do something with that ball when it comes to you, because now chances are it will get to you. James MacArthur, for me, has been an absolutely unbelievable player. I saw some stuff written about him on Twitter last night. Seriously, if ever virtual reality, I could poke someone in the eye down an app, this geezer would have got it. I'm telling you. Seriously.
Yeah. That is scary.
He was hung out to dry last night, playing against those players the way that City play. To just sit back, he's not a sit back and break up play. He runs everywhere. He literally should have a free role of harassing. His engine is fantastic, but it's only going to get slower. Jimmy Mack to me is what's his name? The Frenchman who everyone seems to.
Goodbye.
He literally. We need to treat him as a 65-minute player, but Roy don't make subs 25 minutes from the end, so he's going to get burnout.
I think if he played only 65 minutes at Arsenal on Thursday night, he would have had a better game against Man City, no doubt about it. He's 33 years of age. He's played well over 500 first-class football matches. I thought last night, I know what you're saying, Jel, about the stick he got on Twitter, and I think it's unjustified because I don't think you should single out players for a single game. I think that's totally wrong. But he didn't have his best game last night, and I actually said on Twitter, I thought it was one game too far for him last night. With the proximity of their games, I would have played Jaro instead or something like that because we weren't going to bloody win anyway,
Guys, Joan has also come back and asked the question about what did we pay James MacArthur? And again, not a bad question. Really.
Not
enough. I understand he's on a 3-year deal, which is an £8.5 million contract, average salary of only 2.86 million a year. So, when you compare to I know only is. But you've got to compare. If you're comparing to people like Benteke and Sacco and Max Meyer, I think it's well worth pointing out it's not a particularly large contract. Before we move on from the subject of transfer fees and value for money, boys, Liverpool Football Club. Okay, I've just done a very quick calculation and it's gone off my screen. We signed the 2 players through Benteke and Sacco. Totaling 56 million quid. How much did they pull our pants down? 25.38 million pound for Sacco and 30.52 million pound for Benteke.
Could have been worse. We could have had that lad for 20 million. Went to Bournemouth as well. What was he called?
Brewster.
No, not Brewster. Brewster's the other one. Who's the lad that went to Bournemouth? Solanke.
Solanke, Dominic Solanke.
He went for 20 million from Liverpool. I think the Liverpool thing. I think you play for Liverpool, you put that red shirt on, you play in their first team a few times, and that puts the price up for some reason. It's crazy, really.
But clearly, the problem is I get bored saying it, but we could have God up front. He wouldn't score unless we play away that supplies the ball to him.
Well, he would. If you believe in God, he would.
It's divine intervention. Is that what you're going to say? But you know what I mean. If you want someone to score, you either have to have someone that makes their own goals under Roy Hodgson, or we're not going to score goals. If you were to put Benteke in someone like Arsenal's team or Man City's team, you're guaranteed 10 to 15 goals a season.
Man City, not Arsenal, but yeah.
Right? But for some reason, we can have whoever we want up front, and they are not going to deliver the way that they would deliver for the bigger clubs, because the bigger clubs are built around providing service and scoring goals. And I'm sorry, Hodgson's teams never do that, and they never will.
A couple of strange comments in there. Tony Nichols.
Back to Roy again. Roy's lead back to Roy.
Well, it does. And Ian, it does. Hang on, Joe, I'm just coming to you now. Tony Nichols says, "Steady on, lads," with reference to Liverpool Football Club. And then two posts later, he said, "Liverpool Football Club did a number on us." Well, one or the other. Okay, yeah, sure.
Substitutes. I saw a post from. No. Before you say anything, a post from Bob White last night on Twitter, and he turned around and said that people were saying, why don't we fill the bench up with kids? Which is a fair shout, but he's the voice of reason, Bob White. A lot, seeing a lot of the stuff that he writes, and and he's thinking that the bubble situation. But I'm not. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I know that Liverpool are playing kids and Villa are playing kids, and with the odd first team player, they're not coming in and playing a whole bunch of 16-year-olds. They're playing 2 or 3. Villa played that. So I'm not too sure about that. But if that is the case, then that's it's a valid answer with the way things are going at the moment. But the way I think that the whole club is a bubble. They're all going to be training on within breathing space of each other. If we're all training at the same training grounds, they're all I just think it's to not fill the bench up with just 2 kids. I'm just bring a ball boy along, and just go, look, I know you're missing football.
Just straight away, mate. I just heard that they failed late fitness test. That's all it was. Sorry, go on, mate.
Just say so. Brandon Perrick, Max Francis said in the chat. Now I was at Norwich on New Year's Day last year when he came off the bench, and he had a nice little cameo for 15-20 minutes. He did all right. So he had some first team experience in the Premier League. I agree totally. Why leave 2 places on that bench uncovered last night? What, to save the cost of bringing them up to Manchester and back? That's crap. This is the Premier League. He could have put Perrick and Scott Banks on the bench last night to give them experience.
There's a thing that's annoying me.
Don't get that. Don't understand.
This Scott Banks thing is starting to jar me. Really, it really is. That, from what I understand, he needs a chance. And you can only. Things are going to go great for him if he gets a chance. But if he's what's the man, Nick?
Because my understanding, and there's lots of rumours flying around on social media this afternoon, that he is about to, if he hasn't already, gone out on loan to Dunfermline. Somebody in the chat, could you please confirm whether I am right or wrong, please? Is it Dunfermline? I think it is Dunfermline. But
we just put another under-23 striker out on loan as well, didn't we?
I'm pretty sure. It's Mark Drew saying Banks is going out on loan. The last manager to use the youth effectively was a manager that wore Nick's top.
I tell you, I've got an answer to my own question. Maybe because the under-23s played today, they didn't take them up to Manchester yesterday. That could be an answer.
But you can take them out of the squad, like this what has happened from time immemorial with younger players, and then bring us a couple of 18-year-olds into the 23s.
Yes, it's Dunfermline confirmed, by the way. Dunfermline.
So he's basically gone home.
But again, in fairness to, I'm watching a hamster doing the Mission Impossible right behind the camera here. So if I'm distracted, it's just because he's just fallen off a shelf. I'm really sorry. I'm going to
get the RSPCA involved in you and your pets.
He's right. Anyway, so moving on.
Get him on camera. We want to see him.
Yeah, exactly.
He was literally doing that on the bowls, and he just let go and fell off.
He's edging across the shelf, hoping you don't notice it.
I think he's getting bored of us talking about Christian Benteke.
He's trying to escape, isn't he?
Can we? Are we going to talk about last night's game or not?
Well, I don't mind. I mean, it is. No, I'll tell you what, Jel. Give me an overview then. Okay, we will do. I mean, I just wanted to know if one quick question, and then we're going to move off salaries and everything else. Benteke, I presume we haven't offered him an extension of his contract, and his contract is still up in June, along with loads of others. Combined, it's something like those 3 players together, Sakho, Maya and Benteke, £18 million a year. What we haven't decided, and I think Ian Lyons' point about don't do anything with it until the manager's gone. What would we do with £18 million a year salaries?
Okay, so I was going to give you a rough overview and sort of skirt around the reason I've written all this down. So the first goal, Stones gets in between Cahill and Tompkins. But if you freeze frame it, there's actually, if he doesn't get that ball, Sterling is behind Stones. He gets it because he's in between as well. So I freeze framed it, the goal, the first goal, and there are 5 City players within 6 yards of our goal, within 6 yards of our goalkeeper, from our line. So there's 3 players within 4 yards and 2 just another couple of yards. Ruben, Sterling, and Stones are in the 6-yard box when that ball goes in. Jesus and Gundogan are in the penalty area. That's 5 players. So that just shows the intent of wanting to get on crosses. Second goal, a little bit. I mean, it's a worldie, to be honest with you. People going mad about Townsend. Townsend got robbed on the edge of the area. 2 touches later and 3 seconds, and the ball's in the top corner.
Good goal.
Yeah, it's a good goal. He's just got. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you're going to lose the ball. You're going to get tackled. It's just unfortunate. He got tackled, lost it there. And what was he going to do? He needed a split second. He needed a quarter of a second to hoof it. Would have come back anyway. Third goal. Diaz beats Tompkins in the air. Guaita, great save. So this is from a corner. Great save. Well, great save. A good reaction save from Guaita. But the ball comes out. And Stones, again, turns into prime Baresi. And hits a left foot screamer under our goalkeeper. He can't even get down quick enough. The ball, before he's even thinking about diving, the ball's hit the back, come out the back of the net. Again, it's unfortunate. 4th goal, Sterling decides that today he can't score from a penalty. But last night, he fires in a free kick in the top corner past Guaita. The only thing I will say is he did the Hennessy sidestep. Now, had that been Hennessy in goal, he would have got slaughtered for it. But I'm just saying, it's not
a good point. Again.
Every goalkeeper does it. Every
good observation. So. Good observation, mate.
But he did. He took a step to the left, and if he hadn't taken that step, he probably would have got a hand on it. It would have gone in anyway. So, but this is the thing. When City want the ball back, they go looking for it en masse. When we want the ball back, we hope that they've made a mistake, and they've given us the ball. But you can tell the difference between a team that's got the ball and it gives options to the player holding the ball, and us, we don't give options. We literally don't give options, and that it just hurts us, and it will continue to hurt us. It's a real shame because, what Ian Noble was saying earlier. And I said last week, I don't know who I want to replace Hodgson with. And like I said, I just put a cat there and just let Ray sort it out. I like cats. At the moment, this is the other thing, right? Is I don't want to hate Roy Hodgson, right? If the unthinkable happens and he's led us down this road where we do go down. People go, oh, it's too good to go down. We actually not too good to go down. Let's face it. If we go down, we're going to go down with an Asian squad that will flee like rats off a ship, right? And we will then be left with a bunch of kids. So for me, I don't see the problem in literally going to 3 or 4 of our 23s. Go, look, you are literally come in next year. You're literally playing for your contract. You're playing for a contract. You're playing for your, and we'll put you. And I think performance pay, I think, is the only way to get this, these players on £100,000 a week that just goes from games. I think they're going to have to work for their money. It's the only way.
But we all know that's never going to happen. Because if we introduced it as a club, then no one would want to play for us, would they? They want to play
because all the kids would want to come through. They want to play for the first team.
Yeah, I don't disagree with your sentiment, but it just ain't going to happen, mate.
I know what you're saying, but if we had a salary cap, I mean, we've got a salary cap for our midfielders. We haven't got one for some of our defenders and some of our forwards. That's completely obvious. If James MacArthur is on the money that I think he's on, right, £50,000 a week, which is a horrendous amount of money for the normal people.
McCarthy, do you mean?
No, Jimmy MacArthur. If he is just on £55,000 a week for what he gives to the team, that is scandalous compared to what other players are getting. It is scandalous. But, how much do you pay him? Is he worth £100,000 a week to us? Of course he is. is Wilf worth £100,000? But of course he is. But what's Ezzy on? What's Ezzy on now at the moment? 30, 40 at the
I
most?
thought it was 80, wasn't it?
No, yeah, he can't be on 80. He's come from QPR. Lucky
I don't know.
bastard.
I mean, I guess what you're right, and I understand what you're saying about sentiment. But weren't we the first team to actually implement relegation clauses in the entire squad, which now other people have adopted? Certainly, anyone that comes up now has a relegation clause in there, so you can earn the money while you're up there. But if you go back down, you're knackered. And as a result, why can't we do this? Why can't we implement it? I agree. I agree with both of you really, but it's harder to implement that sort of stuff when you're trying to attract players to the club than it is when you're bringing them up with the kids. But I think when obviously with a focus on the academy moving forward, etc., we might get there at some stage.
5-year contract, in answer to your question, Jill, on Eze, 5-year contract, £7.8 million contract, average salary of 1.56 million a year, transfer fee of 19
30
million.
grand a week.
508,000. I've got a bit of a curveball. I've got one more question for you, boys, and then I'm going to knock it on the head, really, because there's no point. The comments coming through in the chat are, let's not harp on about the two previous games that we didn't even cover, having spoken about the Arsenal game. But I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that's watching out there. Look at the numbers that are on the screen. It's fantastic for the live show on a Monday evening. People coming in from work all the time. One special lady came in and just said, sorry, I'm late. Teresa Baker, you've got no need to apologise for being late. We all know why you're late. So lots of love to you. Gentlemen, I've got one more question for you. Am I a little bit sceptical as to the real reason why the lineup was as it was last night up top and no Wilfried Zaha in the starting lineup? I never heard that he got a knock. I'm sure I saw him on one of the training videos earlier in the week. Post Arsenal, allegedly he'd had a knock. Okay, am I being? Is there something else behind it?
I think we all thought that yesterday, and I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about him going in this window. I don't think he will go in this window. I think there'll be very few players that actually go anywhere in this window because of COVID and the hassle of moving and all the rest of it. So I think we'll see him here till the rest of the season. But you've got to prepare yourself, and I've done this every bloody transfer window. I've prepared myself for Will leaving mentally. I just don't want him to go to another English club. I'm okay if he goes to PSG or somewhere like that. But I do not want him to go to another English club. I don't want him to see him play against us. I mean, funny enough, I was down at Cardiff for the game when he was on loan down there and he played. He was rubbish. They took him off. But, he's not going to be rubbish against us if he plays for a top 6 team, is he? So let's hope he goes.
Joe, he done a couple of live interviews with a couple of rags during the week and intimated regurgitated the stuff that he did before with reference to wanting to leave and wanting to win things within the game. Hence why I'm asking you the question about, is there more to him not playing last night than meets the eye?
Well, maybe, because, we know that Ozil has gone to Fenerbahce of all places.
Yeah.
And if they're paying, I don't know, if they're paying half, are they paying his full or half? Even if they're paying half his wages, that's still horrendous money for a club that can only. There's no fans. I don't know how they can afford that. But anyway, it's maybe that they see Wilf as a replacement. I can't see that. I don't know. I really don't know. Have they bought Eze in to be the new Wilf? I don't know. It's really. I don't know.
In the chat, Neil Chatterjee has said it will be as bad as Ian Wright leaving. I agree with you, Neil. I remember when Ian Wright left.
So do I.
£2.5 million he cost Arsenal.
2.4.
I had an Arsenal mate at the time I was still friends with on Facebook. I haven't seen him for years. A bloke called Darren Mountain, and he came around my house and he said, "I want to apologise." I said, "What for?" He said, "For stealing Ian Wright off you."
Well, this is it, isn't it? That was blatantly, that was so far undervalued, and that's exactly what Arsenal tried to do with Zaha earlier on last season, wasn't it? And then they got mugged for paying what we would have accepted for Zaha for Pepe. So if the right offer comes in, we'll accept it. We need to get over it, right? We need to get over this Will thing, right? He's going to go. Get over it.
Is he going to go this window? Is he going to go this window? Though?
No.
The only place I agree with what Ian says. I think the only place he would potentially go is PSG, Pochettino, PSG, French speaking. You know, short plane ride from Biggin Hill.
He'd be able to live in London still, wouldn't he, and commute, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he only speaks pidgin franglais. He doesn't. He's not completely fluent. That's all he does. You know what I mean? He'll just go over there and go.
Bonjour, mange tout.
Yeah, murky bucket. That's what he'll be. He'll just be. But the thing about Ian Wright, the reason Ian Wright came to Arsenal was because a lot of people don't. You know, the younger people won't know. But his best mate, Rocky Rocastle. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to come back. They grew up as kids. Watch the story on YouTube. It's amazing.
Yeah.
They grew up as kids, and the irony is that when they got Righty to Arsenal, they sold Rocky to Leeds, and Righty was gutted, absolutely devastated. But
I remember that. I remember that day as well, Joe. I mean, Andy, I was upstairs in the bathroom. I think I'd just been finishing my ablutions in the morning. I'd heard it on my little transistor radio. We got £2.4 million for him. I've come downstairs and Sarah said, wife said to me, or my then girlfriend said to me, she said, "Oh my God, Nick, what has happened?" She really thought somebody had died.
It was the whole situation around Righty was made a lot easier with what Ron Node said about players of colour wearing gloves in the cold. I mean, that just was the biggest excuse. It just, it was just. Do you remember that? Do you remember E? You must remember that. I mean, it just, and then it was like it gave Righty every single thing to go. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I need to leave stuff. And then and then Uncle Ron starts a big golf club business. And
I like Righty now. I like what he says. I like him as a pundit, but I don't like it when he's just so pro Arsenal. And when he's ever doing anything about Palace, he doesn't say us or anything, does he? You know, no. So
he uses
we made him as a player at Crystal Palace. No doubt about it. No.
But the silver Nick. The silver lining to Righty going was clearly getting Gabby Adina.
you just stole the word out of my
But clearly, I was at Anfield when he scored and Thomas scored and we won 2-1. And our first win up there. That was everything.
Paul McManara
and Marco Gabbiadini.
Muck, you're both on fire, mate. You got there before Ian Lyons got there. I was just coming to your comments in the chat, and then we replaced it with Marco Gabbiadini. Boys, all of you, out in Facebook land, you three, you've been on fire tonight. So what's coming up in the next couple of games? We've got West Ham on Tuesday the 26th at 6 p.m. and Wolves at 2 home games, and then Wolves at home on Saturday the 30th at 3 p.m. So be sure we will be back to review that and have more of this Gabbio donkey. Somebody just written in the chat.
Marco, Cadavano, they're all coming out now.
You guys in the chat, you've been on fire tonight. Funny. Right, final thoughts. Reason for optimism, please, boys, is the question from all three of you. And I'm starting off with you, Mr. Noble.
Well, I think the reason for optimism is that we are in a fairly secure mid-table position. We are as far away from the relegation places as we are from the top 6 points-wise. I think that's still the case. And, we've got. I tell you what, the real reason for optimism is Eze. We've got Eze. Ebre Eze playing for Crystal Palace. When he's on fire, he's going to be fantastic for us. And I think we've got players now in this squad that if they gel together, we can beat. We were a match for any team. We weren't last night, and we haven't been in certain games this season, but we're a match for most teams in this division. So, reason for optimism is they're going to win more than we're going to lose for the rest of the season, and we're going to stay up comfortably. There you go.
And thank you for joining us here, Noble, as always. Joe Holyoke, reason for optimism, please.
I thought he was going to start singing then. We've got Eze.
There's a song.
just I think the reason for optimism is getting high wages off of the
of the bill,
out of the club, you know, off the wage bill, so we can go and buy Tom Campbell.
Oh, reasons for optimism. And Jel, thank you for joining us as always, mate. It's never going to be the same without you. Reason for optimism, Ian Lyons.
19 games before Roy's gone.
Mate, I've got to tell you, you bastard, you just nicked it off me. My reason for optimism to close the show would be not long left of the season. Roy Hodgson to go shortly. Okay,
And
ladies and
I'll still have beaten Newcastle, so they'll be below us.
let's do the thank yous. Lucy Usher, we love you. Okay, Tom Clark Samuel, Nigel Croucher especially, you're a superstar. You three for joining us. Each and every one of you out in Facebook land, thank you for joining us on a Monday evening. Ian Lyons has got one more thing to say.
I've got one more thing to say. I got some terrible news probably about 2 or 3 hours ago.
Yes,
a member of the Red and Blue family has sadly passed away. Jerry Paffett, our condolences go to family and friends. You will be missed. But yes, I just wanted to say that because he was part of the prediction league as well. So he'll be sorely missed on that.
Fly high, Mr. Eagle, fly high. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, and my whole family in front of me. Oh, hang on. One more word from Jel.
That top you got on, mate, that badge, it is the best badge. The best badge.
Okay. We will leave you with that thought, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of everybody at Red and Blue Review. We love you all. Thank you for joining us. Take care and good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Cheers, guys.